Hello and welcome back to Bannerlord Modded. You can see this guy has a rather perplexing look on his face because he's probably wondering why I decided to attack him, and he's just like, what? I am extremely surprised that you decided to do this because, let's face it, look at this. Our power levels are very, very similar, so I am kind of a little bit worried. I was not actually planning on having this army help me in this fight because I basically wanted them to maintain as much of their combat strength as possible for them to head on to that nearby siege. As you can see, they currently plan to go over to Thractorai Castle and attempt to take that. So hopefully they're going to be successful in their endeavors to do that. If they're not, then I will, I guess, try to help them out a little bit, but some of the time that is just impossible. So let's see what we can do here. I have a pretty balanced army when we don't have any allies with us. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move people into a nice little shield wall formation here. We have basically nothing that I can really leverage here. The environment itself is not exactly great. Gotta say that. Yes, it's a little bit disappointing there. But oh well, never mind. We can just try our best with what we are given, and otherwise we'll see what we can do. Okay, so we have well, two groups of cavalry attempting to flank us or do some skirmishy kind of stuff, which I am not a big fan of. So let's see if I can maybe do some damage to this guy. No? Okay, apparently not. Apparently not. My timing is off. My timing is very much off. Hopefully that's not going to set the tone for the remainder of this episode. That would be somewhat disappointing. But thankfully I've already killed someone, so I guess that's kind of okay. But I am missing a lot of attacks at the moment, so I'm going to need to take stock of that and be like, oh yes, I do seem to be missing a little bit, so, you know, maybe I can do a little bit better. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's get these guys, put them into a loose formation as well. We're going to get them closer. Going to get these guys closer as well. Got to make sure that we're all fighting as a cohesive unit, because if we don't do that, then, well, what are we even bothering for, right? Okay. So let's see if I can maybe take out one of these guys. Gotta be careful here. Oh, nice. Did you see that guy? He was actually throwing a weapon at us right there, and that probably would have resulted in my demise. I was charging at them pretty fast, and that definitely would have resulted in a very fast death. Hopefully not an actual death, cross fingers, because let's face it, we really don't want to have a death on our hands. And it is possible, as I say, it is possible. So let's see. Well, that was a wonderful failure, wasn't it? Okay, never mind, never mind. I think we've got this guy. I think we got this guy. Even if he gets taken out by some of my archers, that is absolutely fine. But I find it very strange that there we go. Never mind. I was about to say I find it very strange that my archers are not able to take out these cavalry units with well, they seem to be having a lot of trouble, which is really not something I would expect, considering we have a massive amount of ranged units in that area. We have about 100 units altogether, and they are just not able to really do anything. Maybe it's because they're so far away. Let's move them, shall we? Yeah, it seems like the enemy's main force is now starting to move a little bit closer. I'm gonna have to put these, actually they're still, what? Why are they still in? That is really strange. I actually thought I put them in shield wall, but apparently they're not. So, okay, I guess I'm happy with that, because I did reposition them just now.
Infantry! Move! Archers forward! Arrow move!
Alright, so we're kind of sizing each other up at the moment. As you can see, this guy is sending a couple of his cavalry in. We're obviously having our cavalry decide what they want to do. and they're generally skirmishing on the outskirts of this little area here, trying not to get too focused down. And it seems like the enemy lord is actually doing some damage to us, so I'm not entirely sure where he is. I think he probably has a ranged weapon of some kind, so that's probably the reason. Anyway, let's move these guys forward. We're actually going to put them in a shield wall formation now. Hopefully they're going to listen to me.
Move it! Forward! Move it! Move!
I was actually hoping with a little bit of my crossbow action to force the opponent into a charge order, but that has not happened for some reason. I gotta say, it is actually kind of amusing that some of the time the AI does tend to be a little bit, well, should we say, unobservant, because they are literally just ignoring what I'm doing right now, which is very strange. I would have expected a lot of their archers to turn toward me as soon as I started shooting at them from almost point-blank range with my crossbow. But they apparently decided that that was not worth it. Ah, there we go. We finally forced them into a charge. Fantastic. Okay, now that is where we are actually going to start seeing some results of our efforts here. Patience does tend to pay off in the end, but it is a very frustrating experience for the most part, because you have to sort of wear down the opponent until they're, well, I like to imagine it as sort of like a, well, should we say, desperation meter. You know, it's kind of like a desperation meter where eventually they get to such a time where they just can't handle taking small amounts of casualties here and there and not getting that much back for it, and then eventually they just give up with what kind of strategy they had attempted to employ, and then as a result they start making these kinds of mistakes. And I'm going to now have something similar happen to me by the looks of things. I almost got myself shot and killed. Alright, I'm going to tell these guys to charge in right now. They should charge straight away. Let's put them into a line formation as well, because if I keep them in shield wall, they're basically not going to charge at all, and they'll just kind of walk towards the opponent very, very slowly, which of course is not what we want. Anyway, probably just going to stand here kind of stationary and just allow the zoom mode to do its thing. And that is indeed a victory for us. Fantastic. Okay, so we lost a grand total of 9 units. That's not that bad. Let's take a look at what we lost. Yeah, that is not that bad at all. I think I can get those guys back without too many difficulties. And we are, of course, once again going to let this guy go. I feel like, generally, even if I were to take a lot of these guys prisoner or not, as the case may be, it doesn't really change things that much. The only thing it really does is it, of course, gives me relation. But if I were to take them prisoner, I feel like it's not going to do too much. I mean, yeah, okay, you know, our campaign AI setting, you know, quote-unquote, is actually kind of high at the moment. So, of course, it's going to be, well, kind of fast for the opponent to get their armies back on their feet. But what kind of army are we talking about here? That's the thing. Because most of the time, if an army is defeated and they have a wide variety of pretty decent units, and I'm talking about tier 4, tier 5 here, maybe even some tier 6s, and if that army is defeated, then the army they come back with after that fact is one of, well, frank disappointment, basically, because they're just going to have the majority of units in that new one being recruits and lower tier units like tier 3 and below. So obviously that makes a huge difference. So me letting them go basically just gives us an additional avenue for making additional cash and making additional amounts of relation gain. So I guess that's actually kind of okay. But if you really want to stick it to the opponent, just take him prisoner. You know, just take him prisoner if you really want to do that. Otherwise, let's take a look at these. 50% better chance. Yeah, I don't really care about that. I actually don't care about any of this, to be honest. I'll go for Two-Faced, I guess. I have no idea. I'll go for Two-Faced because well, converting bandit prisoners without suffering morale penalty. I mean, that could be kind of useful, but yeah, generally roguery is not that useful at all, so it's kind of sad, but you know, I'm not playing a roguery character, so of course it's not going to be that useful, is it? Anyway, I have no units to level up right now, so there's basically no point in me doing anything here. And look at this. We've got a bunch of people ending up dying here. This guy has perished. Look at that. He was only 48. Wow. Look at these guys. They're all dead. The only one still standing is this fellow. Oh my. Well, that's that is going to be a very sticky situation for him very, very soon, because unless those young'uns grow up relatively quickly, he's going to have a clan on the brink of extinction very, very soon. And I'm going to be fighting these guys. Can I do something here? Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, okay. He's surrendering. Sure. Okay, I will do that, and I'll just let him go. And we'll just take the prisoners. There we go. Yeah. Basically, taking prisoners is something that I don't know. To me, it doesn't really make that much difference. I just want a little bit of extra cash for my work in that battle, or as is this case, you know, for my work getting them surrendered. But I'm gonna go in here and actually help him out, I think. What do we have here? Only 79. Is it even worth it? That's the question we got to be asking ourselves. Is it even worth me going in here? Well, it's kind of worth it for, shall we say, possible one-handed weapon proficiency, to be able to gain that skill in a somewhat controlled environment. I wouldn't say it is completely controlled like a tournament, for example, because I can still die in these sieges, and it is highly likely that I will succumb to some kind of wound at some point. Ow! What? I thought I'd be able to jump over that, but apparently not. Anyway, being able to use my one-handed mace, which I thoroughly enjoy using, actually. I feel like it's very satisfying. Is going to be quite fun. But yeah, as is the case with these relatively short sieges, it is not going to last too long, and the enemies are rather sparse as well, so it's going to be one of those things where we basically don't have much time. And I'm going to need to make my way up there very, very quickly and thrust myself basically into the action. And if I am unable to find anyone, then obviously that's going to be a bit of a problem in itself. Oh, there's someone. Oh, hello there. There seem to be a whole bunch of you. Oh, yes. Hello there. Oh, yes. You will get bashed in the face in just a second. There we go. You know what I feel like I've got to do? I feel like I have to create another weapon that is a little bit faster. Is it just me that feels like my mace is too slow? And I have 195 combat proficiency right now, which I'd say is pretty good. I wouldn't say that it's the best, obviously, but I would definitely say that we're doing much better than an average weapon skill would be. I mean, obviously not if you're playing like a duelist character or something that only uses one-handed, because I would probably have about 300 in that now, but the point still stands. I feel like we're still doing okay in terms of the one-handed skill, but it still feels very slow to swing. So I'm thinking we'll probably try and make something a little better. And as we're not really going to be using any kind of one-handed weapon in a field battle, it doesn't really matter how long the weapon is. So that's the reason why Generally, I initially started making this weapon and I thought, oh, I might use it in a field battle or something. And that's the reason why I tended to give it a little bit more length. But as we're mostly only using this in a siege, it makes sense for me to maybe do a little bit of something and remodel my one-handed option. We're just going to let these guys go for the most part. There really is no point now that I've reached 200 weapon proficiency until I get my new weapon at least. So we're going to see what I can do about that. Hopefully I will be able to make something worthy of using it in battle. And as I say that, we're probably going to make something that is utterly terrible. But I have a pretty decent smithing skill. It's not the best, but it's definitely going to be enough to be able to make something nice. And let's just try and get a... oh no, this guy's way too fast, isn't he? 4.9, how far am I? Oh yeah, he's way too fast. But he seems to be cornering himself. He literally cornered himself. I can't believe it. He wants to fight? You imbecile. Why do you want to do that? I have no idea why he wants to do that. Ah, well, never mind. I was hopeful that he would just surrender. It makes everything much easier for me. Gonna go for a nice little auto-delegate here. It is very dark, and I would like to concentrate on actually dealing damage here as well. Personally, I feel like I can get... should we estimate, actually, how many kills I can get out of the 92? What do you think? How many kills do you think I can get? Well, I'm gonna aim, and indeed say that I think I'm gonna get about 20. Should we say 20? That's a bit of a conservative estimate, potentially. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I should be a bit more audacious. Maybe I should say I'm gonna get 50. But there's there's no chance of that. I'm sorry. If you said 50 to yourself, or in the comments, or wherever, then I appreciate your confidence in me, but yes, it's highly unlikely that that will be the case. Especially if I do things like this. Okay, maybe I should get out my crossbow. I think my crossbow might actually give me the most chance. Not if I hit horses, though. Nice. Not a kill. Hitting a tree. I put myself under undue pressure now. Okay, I'm going to try my best to get as many kills as possible, so let's do this. Alright, how many is that? I have no idea, but I feel like I did okay. I don't know, am I surprised? Yeah, I think I am, actually. I think I surprised myself a little bit there, but we are playing a pretty powerful character right now. There's a slaver chief right here. I mean, I feel like getting 20 kills in a battle like this with a much lower level character, that would be pretty impressive, but as it is right now, we're, what is it, level 32 or something like that, so it is... I guess kind of to be expected at this point that I would be able to do something. So I'm going to check after this. And can I get one more kill? Where's the last enemy? Ah, it's actually a cavalry unit. Of course it is. How could it be anything else? And there it is. Ah, of course I would miss. Oh well. Should I try for a couch lance, or should I just go for a normal lancing attack? I think a couch lance. Ah, never mind. I thought I'd be able to get him once he was off his mount. Had to very quickly change my angle of attack there, but thankfully we were able to eliminate him, and that is indeed that. So let's have a look. How many did I kill? I killed 26. Okay, so just a little bit above what I estimated that I was able to get. And bear in mind that obviously I did tell my units to attack as well. It wasn't just me attacking, it was everyone. So I wonder how many I would have been able to get if I was by myself. And I attempted to take this army on all by my lonesome. Might have been pretty fun to find out, but maybe we can give that a go in the near future. Alright, so yeah, we are over the prisoner limit, of course. Yes, that's actually the reason why we were so slow and why it was very difficult for me to catch up with this fellow. Oh, well, never mind. Okay, so we're very close by to one of these towns, so I'm going to go over there and sell all my prisoners as fast as I can. We are moving very, very slowly, and I really do not want to lose any of my prisoners. We're just going to sell all of them. There you go. 9,002. Look at that. That's actually pretty insane, the amount of cash that you can get from selling prisoners. It's kind of surprising. Like, you wouldn't expect that, you know? You wouldn't expect that amount of money to come from prisoners in Bannerlord, at least. I feel like in Warband, the prisoner... I don't know, prisoner slave trading system, dependent on what kind of prisoners you're taking, of course, but generally, the prisoner taking system and selling, you know, to the ransom broker guy, that was very lucrative. Obviously dependent on which mods you're playing too. If you're playing native, then it's pretty good. I would say it's pretty good. Anyway, we do have a small vote to take part in here, and who doesn't really like us? Well, they actually all like us quite a bit, so I guess I'm just going to spend a little bit of influence here and there. And then we'll move on. And we're still at war, of course, against Britannia, as you can no doubt tell. We've taken Thractorai Castle, and we have another... Ooh, hello there. We have another siege going on. Let's see if I can maybe assist them a little bit. Right, so we got a bit of a situation on our hands here. We have a number of vassals that could be quite dangerous dependent on what they have. It seems like most of them have lower tier units though, with the exception of maybe this guy who has a couple of higher tier ones. Not too much to write home about though. And as you can see, our friend here, Nereida, is attempting to take this castle. So I'm actually thinking, you know what? Let's divide and conquer a little bit, shall we? Let's divide and conquer. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a couple of these into a battle with me, but not all of them, of course. I don't really want to fight all of them at once. That would be foolhardy. And we have leveled up our one-handed skill, so let's take a look and see what we want to go for here. Increases your combat movement speed by 5%. That is an absolutely fantastic skill. It really is. If you're aiming for movement speed, you definitely want to take that. Now this... Okay. This is, in my opinion, awful. I think this is really bad. And you may be asking, well, why do you think it's bad? Well, I think it's bad because it's only 10%. Obviously. I mean, your shields take 10% less damage. Okay, I think it's okay, right? I think it's awful in comparison to the alternative that we have down here. Because movement speed in most situations is pretty much everything. And your shield... taking 10% less damage. I mean, yeah, sure, if you're using it a huge amount and you're taking a battering, if you're in a siege defense or maybe even a siege offense, then sure, that could definitely be a bit useful. But I would always say that movement speed is going to be much more useful. If this was 25% less damage, then I would say, hey, yeah, okay, that might be alright. You know, might be alright, but as it stands, not so much, not so much. Okay, let's do this. This might be a little bit dicey, actually. Can I... Can I try to persuade him? Okay, I have a 7% chance of a critical fail. And a 52% chance. I succeeded. I can't believe it. Oh, 100% chance? Are you serious? What? Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll go with the 100%. Thank you very much. Another 100%. Okay, what's the last one going to be? Oh no, 82%. Okay, boom. Hi, we did it. Okay, so now, this is where we enter the barter phase. This is going to be very difficult for me. It's highly unlikely I'm going to be able to... Is it just me that thinks the developers need to do something about this barter system? Because I have 410,000. This guy actually doesn't really mind us that much. He has 8 relation with us, which is obviously not great. Haha, I rhymed. But yes, in general, that's not the best. And he has a number of castles as well. But now here's the thing. If I were to give him Askar, look at that. I literally give him an entire town, and he's still unwilling to join. So what about if I give him my other city? No? Still not. This is absolutely ludicrous, I gotta say. What if I give him both? Yeah. I mean, really? Really? This makes no sense whatsoever, in my opinion. Like, okay, I can 100% understand that this guy wants a couple of assurances, but we're at war with him, okay? We're at war with him, so it is going to be the case, 100%, that he will bring over every single one of his fiefs. So he's losing nothing, but he's just joining a different faction. Obviously, it is putting his fiefs in slightly more danger, but the Botanians are not doing very well so far. And you would expect maybe he would see that and then be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to join you. But he doesn't see that, and he is a very stubborn individual by the looks of things. And as a result, we are unable to persuade him. But if you can imagine that, I mean, just imagine what? Why did I spawn all the way over here? I thought to myself, wait a minute. Why does my screen have a red shade on it? Oh, well, never mind. Anyway, as I was saying, basically, I think the barter system should be made a little easier. I don't think it really needs to be so strict with how vassals are, because, as we know, unless the vassals have been changed since that time, where they don't faction hop as much, because in the past, when I've attempted to persuade people and I've been successful in it, and even given them stuff, so I've given them fiefs, I've given them, you know, 500,000 in gold and all that wonderful stuff, even when I've done that, it has made no difference whatsoever to their loyalty factor. And they have, as a result, joined the faction that I was a part of, maybe even my own kingdom. And then moments later, they backstabbed us and left with the fief that I just gave them. That's the kind of situation that I'm thinking would probably still happen. But the barter system is so difficult as it is at the moment that it probably won't even... I mean, it doesn't make sense for me to spend that much money, or indeed to provide him with all of the fiefs that I currently have available to me. So I guess we will just hold off on using the barter system for the moment. And are the enemies actually wanting to attack us right now? Because it seems like, to me, they're kind of holding back a little bit. Oh, there's... Oh, I had no idea that that was one of the enemy leaders. Well, that is a rather interesting development. I would have expected them to be on a horse, but I assumed that the horse was killed somehow.
Move! Moving forward! Archers, forward! Infantry, move!
Ah, it looks like I don't even need to move towards our opponent now, because it seems like they're moving towards us. So let's put my forces in a nice little shield wall formation here. We'll put them on the low ground, even though I don't really like doing that, but I kind of want my ranged units to have the utmost freedom to fire however they want to fire. Let's put them in loose formation as well, make sure that they are having the most space possible to fire all of their projectiles as freely as they want to. And here we go. The enemy is now starting to come in, which is exactly what we wanted them to do. Oh, I already eliminated one of the other enemy lords, unfortunately not a death. But that is, of course, to be expected. It is a very low chance after all. I'm actually surprised that most of these guys are already running away. I would have expected them to stick around for a little bit longer because they do outnumber us. So that is obviously something to bear in mind. You know, the outnumbering factor should give them sufficient amounts of morale, but obviously we do not know what kind of morale situation their armies are currently facing, so it may very well be that they have a very low morale to begin this fight with anyway. I guess we'll just accept their retreat. There we go. 53 renown, not too bad. I think we're very close to clan tier 6, or at least I hope so. We lost 3 units, but that's not too bad. I actually killed 28 units in that fight as well, which is pretty good, I guess, but not as good as the previous one, because the ratio to the amount of units that we had to fight and the amount that I was able to kill was not as good. But anyway, we can let them go, I guess. We can pretty much let these guys go. I mean, generally, that's my main objective at the moment, to try and recruit as many of these vassals as I possibly can, or try to, at the very least. And so if they have a good relation with me, it is going to increase my chances tenfold, or at least that is the hope. It doesn't seem to be working as intended at the moment, which is kind of unfortunate. It seems like some people are attempting to attack that army over there. It's not going too well for them, though. Yes. Probably not the best idea for them to try and take on one of those armies. But I guess they have to try in some way or another. There we go. There's another 14,000. As you can see, money starts racking up quite heavily once you start fighting other vassals on a almost daily basis here. Wait a minute, did we lose someone? We lost someone. How dare you? Who defeated this guy? Not this fellow, that's for sure. Where did they go? Ah, they went over here. Oh, hello. Alright. Well, that's the reason why that happened. Over 1,000 units. Okay, yeah, now they've shown up to party, haven't they? They certainly have. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.